Well, hello and welcome to another tutorial. Hopefully this will be a quick one. I don't normally do tutorials, but I was requested by somebody to do this, and if I can help somebody out I will if I can. So yeah, this is about making sort of sparks in CC particle world. So as you can see, I've got the Nostromus there. That's or whatever they call it, and you can make something like this with them. Well, yeah, they don't look like rockets, I know. They're not going fast enough, but you can turn the velocity up for them. But we're making sparks, and that's why the group Sparks was there. I mean, a lot of people won't remember them, but they were 2 billion years ago. They were a pop group, and yeah, so that's enough of that. But that's what we're going to be trying to make, sort of thing. Just the one, of course, Sparks. Okay, so let's get on with it, shall we? It's new composition. We'll call this, funny enough, let's call it Sparks. They were a good group, you know. Anyway, okay, so now first thing I always do is I always make a camera. Even though I don't use it, I put one in there, and I also put a light. Alright, parallel light. Right, and then I'll click on to the mask thing so I can see the light. Let's get back out a bit. Let's move the light up to something like about maybe there. Right, and we can sort of forget about the light. So let's go layer, new, solid, and I'm going to make my solid black. Okay, so not going to bother naming it. And now I want to look for and go into your effects on the right hand side and type in on your effects CC particle, and it's come up already. So if you look down here, you'll see CC particle world, which is basically what you want. You'll left click on that, drag it across and drop it onto your solid. Okay, so there you have the CC particle world, which is basically just doing that. First thing you want to do is to probably move it up slightly. If you don't see this plane here, you probably have this switched off. You can switch this on and off. So at the moment it's on, so that's good. That will keep on disappearing, but don't worry about that. Okay, so let's get started and sort of setting this up a bit. On the left hand side you should see particle world, your settings. If you're in project you won't see it, so you've got to click on to effect controls. Okay, so let's go down here and start with the birth rate. Now the birth rate is 2.0 at the moment, so if you click on that and change it to 9.2, basically the birth rate is the amount coming out. So as you can see, there's a lot more coming out now. And let's go for longevity, which is basically how long they're going to survive. Click on there and put in 0.60. Okay, so now you've got that. And now let's go down to the, I don't think there's anything in the producer. No, I'm not touching anything in the producer. Go down to physics, and where it says animation and explosive, you want to make that viscous. Okay. Okay, and we're not going to deal with anything with the velocity, gravity at the moment. So physics, we're out of there, and the next one down would be particle. And particle type, you've got line. We're going to change that to motion square. Okay, now in the particle type, when you move down, you'll see birth size, and it's set at 250 at the moment, so we're going to set that at 0.100. Okay, and the depth size we're going to set at 0.075. Okay, now as you can see, and the next down, that we want to do the opacity map, and if you click on that, you'll see this is the shape you get. And now you have a, if you move over the top of it, you've got yourself a little sort of tool there you can use, and you want to sort of make it a bit, I don't know, something a bit like a whale. Ish. That looks like a whale, does it? Anyway, so there you go. That's what you've got there. Now the colors, your colors will probably be different. Your colors would have been white or black or something. I've already changed mine, but for the birth color, you always want it to be roughly a lighter color of some sort, because when they start off they should be light, and when they go off they should be whatever. So yeah, these are the two colors I have here at the moment. Okay, and you move down, and then you got transfer mode, which is composite. If you change that to add, it just gives it a bit more punch, if you can see what I mean. Now I've got my thing on full here. You might want to do yours on a quarter or something. In fact, I might even, no, I'll leave mine on full for now. Okay, so you can see it. Right, so we got particle world here at the moment, and that's what we've got. So the next thing is we want to rename this layer. I think we'll name it to say main. That's all I'm going to name it, just because that's the main sparks. Now you can actually just deal with the sparks like that. They don't look great like sparks, but you can just use them just like that. Now to change them around a bit and make them act completely different, you go into gravity. And I'm not going to go into gravity, but that's what you do to make them either float up or go left or go right and that sort of thing. We're just going to have them coming down like that for now at the moment. But we're going to click on the main layer you got there, which is the particles, and Control D, which will copy it, and we're going to rename that and say white. Like I say, you don't have to do this part of it, but this is basically what I did to put sparks in behind a little bit. I thought it made it look a bit better. Now click on your white layer that you name white now, and we want to change a few, and you can turn the other one off actually, and we want to change a few of the settings here. Where it says birth rate on the white layer, you want to change that to 2.9. You can keep the longevity the same. And now we want to go into particle and change the color. We want the colors to be not quite white, but light, really bright color of some sort, like so. Okay, and that's basically all you need to do there. So now you've got the two layers. Now you want to move the white layer below the main layer and turn the main layer on. So now you got sort of them coming out the back, but you can't really see them, so we want to move them about a bit. So if you get the white layer and click on that and go down to transform, and I usually use this because I find it a lot easier to move around, and then sort of bring them up above there, maybe make them slightly a bit smaller, and then move them up a bit, and let's see what that looks like. Okay, it's not too bad. You see the way they're kind of pumping up over the top there. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so that's your second layer. Like I say, I'm going to do this really quick, and you can adjust them around any way you want, whatever you like. So now I'm going to get the main layer and copy that and rename this smoke. Okay, so now that's going to be the smoke layer. Let's turn the other layers off, shall we? Now the smoke layer, you want to go to the settings of the smoke layer and go birth rate and change that to 0.6. Okay, and then we want to change, if we go down to particle, it says motion square, which we set before. We want to change that to line. Okay, we change it to line instead. Now let's go down to the colors while we're here and change it to a bit more of a smoky color. I'm not sure, roughly about something like that maybe, right? And now it still doesn't look very smoky, so we'll go to effects and we're looking for fast blur. So type in fast blur, and this is a fast blur here, so drop it onto your layer here, and now let's turn that up to 32, maybe not quite 32, whatever. This doesn't look great, I know, but okay, so let's turn the other layers on and put this smoke layer right behind the white layer. Okay, now we can't really see it, so now we're going to have to move the smoke layer around. So if you click on it and then sort of get hold of it and move it up, and I believe you want to make it smaller and move it up some more maybe, and see what we got going here. Okay, well, let's see what that looks like. That's not bad, not great, but not bad. Okay, now what we need to do is go to the main layer again and put another effect on here. Now you can put effect on pre-compose it and put an effect on the pre-compose, but it never looks the same, so you're better off to do it separately. So on the main layer you want to type in glow for your effect. Now I've got loads and loads of glows here, but the one you want is Stylize Glow. So you get hold of that and drop it onto your main layer. As you can see, it brightens it up quite nicely, and the reason I haven't really done anything with the smoke that much is because the glow will affect it quite a lot. So let's see what we can do for the glow. Let's put it to 50, and this is another personal taste thing. You know, it's entirely up to you what you want it to look like. Okay, so, and now you want to put, this is the way I do it because I set the glow and I think it's right. I click on the glow, go up to edit, copy, go on to my white layer, edit, and paste. So now the glow gets transferred to there. Okay, so that's what we've got going so far. Doesn't look fantastic, does it? No, but anyway, so now we've got that there. Now I'm going to show you a bit of a trick here. It doesn't look fantastic at the moment, but if you click onto your project panel, in other words, make sure your project panel is selected, right? You should see down here it says 8-bit, and that is your color, bits per channel. If you hover over that with your mouse, click your Alt button on your keyboard and click on your left key mouse thing, it'll change to 16-bit, and then if you click again it'll change to 32-bit. Now you may get a warning saying that on your CC Particle World that it's not sure about the 32-bit, but I'm going to try the 32-bit. As you can see, it makes it look an awful lot more like a spark, if you know what I mean. Now you can use the 16-bit. I'm going to try the 32-bit for now and see what happens. So let's get back into here and adjust the glow a bit, because it looks a bit much now. As you can see up here on the left where it says CC Particle World, you'll see a yellow triangle with an exclamation mark on it, and that means that it's saying it's okay with 8, it's okay with 16, but it's not too sure about 32, because 32 the colors might tend to be a bit different, but I'm going to give it a shot anyway. Okay, so now the glow to me looks like it's a bit too much, especially with that on. So if we turn it down some and just get it to what we think it might be right, and the colors look a bit, maybe a bit too much there on the reds, so let's try and make that a bit brighter there. Okay, doesn't look too bad. Okay, so you're getting the idea now. Like I say, you can use 16-bit, you can even use 8-bit if you want, to see how it goes for you. Right now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click onto the layer, smoke layer, white layer and main layer, all of them, right click and pre-compose, and I'll call this, obviously I think I'll call it Sparks, and I'll put pre in there so I know it's the pre-comp. Click OK. Right, now things might have changed slightly for your pre-comp, and that's because it needs to have the light and the camera in there. So click on the light and the camera that you have and edit and copy. Double click your pre-comp so you can get inside it, go edit and go paste. Right, so now you've got a camera in there, because when you pre-compose it the camera doesn't follow in, you have to actually manually put it in. Okay, so now we're in the sparks, and as you can see it doesn't look too bad. Now for me, I don't particularly like the sparks falling right through the screen, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to come up here and put a pen, to get my pen tool and sort of just go round on my pre-comp layer like this. And this is something else that you don't have to do, I just do it because that's what I want. So get into your pre-comp layer, under masks, make sure you open the mask right up so you see the feather, then do your feather, and as you can see it's feathering it in like at the bottom. Then get your expansion mask and you can come in on the minus, which will basically make it a bit more. If you can move the mask out, it's just the bottom I want to really make sure it doesn't fall out the screen, as it were. Okay, so there we go. So let's take a look at this. Let's see if we can render a bit and see what it looks like. Let's do 5 seconds. That might not take too long, hopefully. If it does, I'll just cut the recording. So okay, so there you go. There's the sort of sparks coming out there, and they're a little bit too colourful, really. But for now, that'll be fine for this tutorial, because you can always make the colours not so strong quite easily. And so the pre-comp, and they're not falling all the way, like they're kind of like disappearing before they get through there. Okay, so that's pretty well not bad. Now let's assume you want to get this effect out of After Effects and be able to put it and keep it and put it into drop it into all other effects with a transparent layer and everything with the alpha channel. There's two ways of doing it. One is if you go to comp, obviously add to render queue, click on the low loss down here on the left, and the first choice is ABI, low loss. You have that selected, so you select it out of the layer list there. You go down to channels and you pick RGB plus alpha, and then of course you go OK, and then you name it whatever you want. Right now the file will be big. Okay, usually it's quite big. There is another way of doing it where the file is a bit smaller, and I usually use AVI because AVI sees the colors better sometimes than the other one does. But let's show you the other one. It's go on the custom, go down the list, pick QuickTime. Right now, then you go into format options. Now it's on animation now, but it could have been, usually it's on something like that. So you go into format options and you go in the list and you click animation, click OK. Now you go down to here where it says channels and you pick RGB plus alpha. Right, so you've got animation selected here, so you've got animation, RGB plus alpha and QuickTime, and that's all you need to do, and then you just name it. Right, so the file will be smaller, but for me I'm going to go AVI for now, and we'll see what it looks like in Premiere Pro. So I'll render this out and we'll see what it looks like in Premiere Pro. Okay, so now I'm in Premiere Pro and I've brought them in. I've adjusted them a couple of times a little bit, as you can do. As like I say, you don't have to use the 32-bit color thing or 16-bit, or you can just use the basic 8-bit, and it's entirely to you. So yeah, so there's one of the sparks there, and I made sort of another one slightly different, and made another one slightly different there. Okay, hope you can see that. Can you? Let's see if we can get this bigger. Okay, so yeah, now if you put, they're all right for darkness. Now if you put say, I don't know, say this one into another sort of place, like you might want to change the colors to make it sort of make it stand out a bit. I mean, I don't think that one looks very good in that sort of area. This one might look better, you see. So it's just a matter of taste of what you want to do. So yeah, there it is. There's the quick tutorial, and I hope you learned something by that. And any questions, just put them in the comments down below. And yeah, good luck with that. Whatever you got to do. See you around. Bye.